Welcome back to the channel, everyone. Today we're exploring 3 of the most terrifying murders filled with twists, turns, and unanswered questions. Everything from suspicious suicides to shocking confessions, these cases will leave you on the edge of your seat. But beware, these details are not for the faint of heart. But before we jump in, please subscribe to the channel, hit the like button, share the video, and turn on post notifications so you don't miss any uploads. Alright, let's dive in. Ellen Ray Greenberg was only 27 years old when she died on January 26, 2011, after being stabbed 20 times. Her death was somehow ruled a suicide, but the news sources have called it suspicious. She was born on June 23, 1983, in New York City, New York. She taught first grade at Juniata Park Academy in New York City's Juniata neighborhood. And she shared an apartment with her fiancé in the Manayunk neighborhood of Philadelphia. Philadelphia was hit by a storm on January 26, 2011, which forced Ellen to miss work and go back to her apartment. She was declared dead at about 6:40 p.m. after being stabbed 20 times, 10 times in the back and 10 times in the neck that same day. She had 11 bruises on her right arm, belly, and leg, some of which were healed, and some still not. Her fiancé, Samuel Goldberg, discovered her body. At first, the crime scene was thought to be a suicide, but after the autopsy, the Philadelphia Medical Examiner's Office changed its ruling and said the death was a murder. Later, the Philadelphia Police Department shifted the investigation from suicide to murder and back to suicide, and in February 2011, it was formally ruled a suicide. The Philadelphia Inquirer published a front-page investigative story on March 15, 2019, that looked into the strange circumstances of Ellen's death. The single bullet theory of the John F. Kennedy murder was questioned by Pittsburgh forensic pathologist Cyril H. Wecht. He looked into the case and said it was strongly suspicious of homicide, and that he didn't understand how they could write this off as a suicide. In the same way, forensic scientist Henry Lee, who testified for the defense in the murder trial of O.J. Simpson, looked over the case files and said, "The number and types of wounds and bloodstain patterns observed are consistent with a murder scene." The cuts that went through Ellen's brain were a major point of disagreement. According to what Wayne K. Ross wrote, the stab wounds to the brain and spinal cord would have caused an immense amount of pain, problems with the cranial nerves, and traumatic brain injuries. Neuropathologist Lucy Bailey and Rourke Adams said in the original medical report that there was no such cut. But when questioned by the Philadelphia Inquirer, she said it was possible she saw the body and said whatever the medical examiner had ruled, because she was working for the medical examiner at the time Ellen's body was being examined. However, she didn't have any records of the examination, so she couldn't confirm any reports that were in question. It was in October 2019 that Greenberg's parents sued the Philadelphia Medical Examiner's Office and Marlon Osborne, the doctor who performed the autopsy, in civil court in Philadelphia. According to the lawsuit, the cause of death should be changed to homicide or undetermined. This is because of new information and the fact that Osborne admitted to changing the cause of death because the cops told him to. At the time of Ellen's death, photogrammetry wasn't available. Had it been, it could be used to make a 3D model of her injuries, showing that not all of her stab wounds could have been self-inflicted. The Philadelphia Court of Common Pleas let the case go further than the move to dismiss stage in January 2020. The Pennsylvania Attorney General dropped the case because of a conflict of interest in August 2022, but the Chester County District Attorney's Office said it would look into Ellen's death again. After being looked into by the Philadelphia Inquirer, the case had become polarizing. The case was covered by the Dr. Oz Show, People Magazine, 48 Hours, Inside Edition, the Philadelphia Inquirer, CBS Philadelphia, and more. A judge in Las Vegas freed a woman who was charged with killing her husband with a shotgun. The judge, Tony Abatangelo, let Erica McElroy go because the prosecutors in Clark County had not brought charges against her. Shane McElroy, who was 37 at the time, was shot in the chest by her after a fight at home on October 7th. Pamela Weckerly, a deputy district attorney, said that the case is being looked at by officials. She wouldn't say if the murder was thought to have been self-defense or by the police. Erica McElroy, who was 25 years old, told cops in Las Vegas that her husband had abused her for 10 years and that she thought he was going to kill her. The police report says that her husband showed up drunk around 2:30 in the morning at the 5000 block of Upper Falls Court, which is near where Cactus Avenue and Decatur Boulevard meet. He said his wife was having an affair and said he would kill her boyfriend if he found out. After that, he got 2 guns and put them in his car. A police report stated that the couple fought over a shotgun in the garage after arguing for about an hour. They went out into the street after Erica grabbed the gun. She told the cops that her husband tried to take the gun from her and she was afraid he would kill her. Then she fired the shot that killed him. The motive is said that Erica's 4-year marriage was coming to an end, and Shane McElroy was taking steps to leave when he was shot. Erica McElroy was charged with killing her husband with a shotgun in front of their home in the Southwest Valley on Wednesday. The call came in at 5:10 a.m. from Erica McElroy, telling them that their daughter had shot her husband outside of their home. When the police arrived, they found the man dead from a gunshot wound to the chest. A sister and her brother-in-law are both sentenced to 25 years to life in prison for killing her husband in 1996 to get his $1.2 million life insurance, even though her son begged for forgiveness. He was 40 years old when he was stabbed 40 times outside of his New York City office in March 1996. His 61-year-old wife, Roslyn, and her 45-year-old brother, Evan Wald, were found guilty of murder. The pair got the harshest sentence possible from Judge Gilbert Hong on Monday. Philip, the Pilmar's son, said that his mom is nice and that his uncle always showed love. But Hong pointed out the viciousness and brutality of the crime when he handed down the sentence. Philip Pilmar was only 10 years old when his dad died. In a victim statement, he said, "I struggled for years, then came to accept things and moved on." Prosecutors said Roslyn and Evan planned to kill Howard Pilmar so that Evan could get a $1.2 million life insurance policy. The story was that Roslyn got into debt after she was caught stealing $160,000 from the dentist's office where she worked as a dental nurse. She then said she would pay the money back, but she didn't tell her husband. She kept this a secret. Prosecutors say that in the days before the murder, Roslyn was getting a lot of calls about her debt, including calls from the IRS seeking $14,000 in back taxes. Her husband owned a coffee shop that she was running, and the government threatened to close it down if taxes wasn't paid. Howard Pilmar was found on March 28, 1996, outside his office on East 33rd Street, near the Empire State Building. He was found dead in a pool of his own blood. Howard left behind 2 life insurance plans worth more than $1 million and 2 businesses that he ran. Roslyn sold them months later. Roslyn Pilmar also got a summer home and an apartment on the Upper East Side of Manhattan. Roslyn admitted to grand theft in the embezzlement case 3 years after the murder. She paid back the money she stole and was given probation. The prosecutors said that Evan's relationship with his brother-in-law, who worked for him, started to get tense. They said Evan began to hate Howard because he was always negative towards him. Evan also looked out for his sister and knew that her marriage was falling apart. Lederer said Evan told Howard he would kill him if he ever hurt his sister. But Evan's lawyer, Daniel Gotlin, laughed at the idea that Evan would tell everyone ahead of time that he was going to kill his brother-in-law. Howard was found on March 28, 1996, outside his office on East 33rd Street, close to the Empire State Building, dead and covered in blood. Authorities say he was stabbed 40 times in the neck, chest, and back the night before. Some of the stab cuts indicated that they were done after he was already dead. Because there were no signs of forced entry, police thought that someone he knew did it. Howard was killed after the night shift security guard left for the day. Detectives thought this was a sign that the killer knew Howard's normal schedule. Also, the police didn't think it was a break-in because Howard still had his wallet with $200 in it on him when he was killed. The police said DNA tests showed Evan's blood was at the scene of the crime. When the police talked to him, they saw a cut on his left hand. Lawyers for the prosecution say the cut happened while he stabbed Howard. Gotlin, Evan's lawyer, said that the cut on his client's hand did not show that he was responsible. Gotlin also said that the police couldn't follow up on other tips because they were too focused on Evan. Rosalind Pilmer was still a suspect, but the police couldn't find out what happened. However, agents remained suspicious as they thought about her habit of stealing things and the fact that she got a nearly $1.5 million insurance payout. After her husband died, she got the business, a summer home, the couple's apartment in Manhattan, and motherhood over their 10-year-old son. Police say that after killing her coffee shop owner husband in Manhattan in 1996, she went from having a lot of debt to living it up and taking regular trips to the Turks and Caicos Islands. But Rosalind Pilmer and her partners lost their plan when the 60-year-old dental hygienist was caught and charged with murder in the coffee bar case on Tuesday morning. At the trial of the widow, Manhattan Assistant District Attorney Elizabeth Lederer said, "Some of the injuries were done after death. It was clearly a crime of rage." This was 21 years after Howard Pilmer was found stabbed 27 times on the floor of the hall outside his office near the Empire State Building in March 1996. In the early 1990s, Pilmer opened the city's first office supply store and coffee shop, which made him a lot of money. Howard Pilmer fought his attacker so hard that his attacker almost cut off his fingers. Rosalind's luck would run out on August 15th, 21 years after her husband died. At the time, police thought Rosalind was guilty because she owed $200,000 to a past boss whose money she had stolen. Then, about 2 years ago, detectives shifted their focus to her money problems to construct the murder plot. Sources say that Rosalind said at the time that her brother had just cut himself, even though blood from her brother was found in the office. There was no doubt that Evan had a contentious relationship with Howard, and the dead man's wife needed money. Lederer says that Evan told Howard's sister, "We're going to kill Howard," the night before Howard died. In Manhattan criminal court, Rosalind was charged and was held without bail. Assistant DA Elizabeth Lederer said, "More evidence has been gathered and we have found more witnesses, and more evidence in the 4 years I've been working on it." In the end, Justice Jill Convisor said, "This case has changed. I agree that it's a very bad case. It's as bad as it gets," she told the suspect as she sentenced her to jail. If you made it this far, thank you so much for watching. What's your take on these cases? Do you have any theories or insights? Share them with us in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video and want to see a part 2, let me know down in the comment section. Please check out these videos on the screen now. If you have a topic suggestion, please send it to the email in the description. And as always, remember to like, comment, share the video, and subscribe to our channel. I will see you in the next one.